Slowly but surely, all the Korean pro gamers are coming back to StarCraft 2 after completing their mandatory military service. Now this man, he completed his about, I think a month and a half, 2 months or so ago. I haven't actually casted any of his games since his return, so I'm excited to find out exactly how good none other than Zoun is. Now, to make things a little bit confusing, he's playing under the nickname Classic. I don't know why. But this is Zoun. This is not this is actually Zoun. Apparently he's got the Clem tag Zoun, but he's got Classic's username. I guess maybe they shared an account or something? I'm not sure. Anyways, his opponent down in the bottom left. You know him, you love him. We have the world champion of StarCraft 2. We're looking at none other than Clem's main command center. I want to go ahead and apologize in advance for, mispronouncing Zoun's username because his nickname is Classic. And in my mind, right, so there's a lot of people in the StarCraft world that complain that the Korean pro gamers are sometimes a little bit difficult to tell apart because they play relatively similarly. A lot of them don't really speak great English. They're not really content creators. They don't really stream. So sometimes they can have a little bit of overlap, and now to see Zoun playing under Classic's username, we just get additional confusion added into the mix, but should not be a bad idea. This particular series was played during the Olimo League. So as of me casting this, I think about 5 days or so ago. So it should be giving us a nice update as to where Zoun is currently at. Generally speaking, it takes players a little bit of time to get back to their former skill level. And in the case of some pro gamers, they never get back there. I would like to think, though, that this is Zoun not actually playing on Classic's account, but just him being a gigantic troll. That's what I would like to... Zoun actually recently announced, he posted on Twitter, or on X, or whatever, that he actually is gonna start streaming again too, so he changed some of his, like, usernames, I think, on the internet, and he's trying to spend some good old time in StarCraft once more, which is always awesome to see. I mean, I can imagine if you're a returning pro gamer in 2024, it is a little bit difficult to decide where your time is best spent, right? Do you focus on another game? Do you want to keep doing StarCraft? A lot of, I guess we can call them ex-pro gamers. What is this? Ugh. Gross. A Reaper and a Marine after a Marine. Ugh. That's like making a Medivac and a Viking out of a starport. Nasty. Anyways, a lot of Korean pro gamers, when they first complete their military service, they try to do this thing called a quote-unquote normal job. And then they try that out for a little while and they enjoy, being a pro gamer much better. So sometimes we have a little bit of a delay whenever players do complete their military service, but slowly but surely, most of them do sort of come back. Yeah, I say that. A lot of them also don't come back, which is a little bit sad. Some of them play for a little while. Like, for example, I mean, we've had Innovation, right? Like, Innovation played a couple of games again, and he's like, maybe not. Fun fact, apparently Innovation's little brother is a very successful League of Legends pro gamer. I don't actually follow League myself very much, but apparently he is an absolute giga chat in that particular game. Now, I guess for Zoun, this is a good timing to return to the game. With the new multiplayer balance patch, so of course this is played on the PTR. We are on a map called Amygdala. New maps, new balance patch. It sort of levels the playing field a little bit. And even though we have Clem trying to intercept this, that Hallucination Phoenix Scout, it is still gonna get into the main base of the Terran player pretty easily. I believe this has been Stalker into Sentry into Stalker. We've been seeing Stalker into Sentry a lot in this matchup with the new multiplayer balance patch. So the idea is that you can add that energy overcharge ability to the Sentry and then basically continuously scout. So there's that new ability on the Nexus. It's a 1 minute global cooldown, but you can get a lot of energy on your Sentry. I'm really liking the ability, actually. I think it's by far the best change that they've added to this patch. It sounded insignificant. I honestly thought that initially it wasn't going to be that good, but the continued hallucination scouting is very, very strong. And we already see players trying to be a little bit smarter with it now. So this is apparently Classic. It was going to happen. This is apparently Zoun deciding that he is only going to send one hallucination scout because he's seen what he needed to see. And he can apparently now take a third Nexus. I think that's the plan anyways. By just sitting on 2 gate. Good defense here. Oh, we're going to go straight Robo Bait. Interesting. So this is only 2 gateways so far right here for the South Korean Protoss. Reaper still hanging out over at that third base. Since this is not a Stargate opener, we can indeed go into that Raven right now on the back of this too, because Clem will have full reign of the map. And honestly, when you're going up against quick Colossi, which this is most likely going to be, you can still get a lot of value as well out of that interference matrix ability. Although, I think this is just going to be a singular one. Obviously, if this would be a Dark Templar follow-up, for example, Clem would have a great time too. And Ravens in general rarely don't get value. They're just expensive, and you have to calculate them into your build order. Now, this is a relatively late third Nexus that can work out in the favor of Protoss, because it means he's got more units, but obviously he also has less HP on that Nexus. So it can't tank nearly as much. Keeping this base alive is actually critical. Can he get the job done? Widowmine drop. Did once more get denied. Third Command Center in the meantime is building on the other side of the map too. Couple of Zealots trying to draw fire. Clem really quick though with that retargeting on that tank. Lovely work so far here by Zoun. Yep, great control. He's got double blink on those Stalkers, man. We have blink with the blink, but then also blink with the prism. And that was a clean defense. Losing about as little as possible. He has seen the third Command Center, I'm sure. Yeah, it is within range right there of that observer. Retargeting right here from Clem. Raven, is gonna get sniped as well. So far, stellar gameplay right here by the Protoss, who's now gonna be able to confirm the kill on this base. I think so anyways. Maybe? Maybe not. Maybe not. No, I don't think he's got enough for it, but this is still a massive slowdown. Excellent gameplay here. Oh, don't lose the prism. Great work. It's actually exciting to see Zoun playing again. Zoun is one of those players who was always very good at the game, but never really won premier tournaments, right? Because he's a Protoss player. Anyways, he never really won anything super significant, but he's always one of those players who's extremely good, right? And I always feel mean whenever I describe players like that. But it is just simply the fact of the matter. There are some players out there that rarely win tournaments, but are consistently in the top 8, maybe the semifinals, that sort of thing. Of course, he's won his share of stuff too, but in general, yeah, he's always been ranked very high. And I would imagine this is looking like a patch at the very least that's going to look really good for Protoss. I would imagine that this is certainly a chance right here for Zoun to shine over the next, well, half year or so. We don't really know exactly what the final version of this patch is going to be. So to clarify the PTR, it's the public test realm. None of the changes are finalized yet, but I would imagine that the vast majority of the changes will go through. We may see another update. I wouldn't mind, honestly, seeing another update to the PTR before we finally get the final version. But we'll see. Run, Jimmy, run! Okay. Alright, you didn't have to kill him that brutally, but little Zealot man is gonna, yeah, it's gonna get sniped as well. So revenge right there for Clem at last. Okay, we have a fourth Nexus building right up top. Impressive as well, actually, from Zoun, that he is ready to just play the macro game against Clem. If I would play against Clem, guess what I would do? I would cheese him, dude. I would cheese him so hard, I would go for the worst possible build orders, just on the off chance that I can catch him off guard. Playing macro against Clem seems like an absolute disaster, because Clem, in general, doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. Either that, or I would try to play I wouldn't even try to win. I would try to just play for survival. Just sit there, try to see if I can make it to the 16-minute mark or something like that. That would be fun. We could treat a game against Clem as like a StarCraft 2 campaign mission, Just try to live for as long as possible, see how you can pull it off. So far, by the way, this is not really the cleanest game here from Clem, who only just now finished up the armory. He is going to be going into the +2 here, but this all feels a little bit slow. Barracks 6, 7, and 8 coming up right now as well for the Frenchman. There we have the Ghost transition coming up, but his upgrades are actually not really looking that hot yet. He is going to be able to line them up at the very least, so that's good. Fourth Command Center did finish up as well, so ultimately he's going to be able to get everything going. Okay. He's quick though, right? Like the fact that Zoun is actually quickly readjusting those flight paths. Hallucinated units don't have a lot of HP. You need to be very quick. He's probably hotkeying them. I actually think that's a no-brainer now that I think about it. Hotkeying your hallucinated phoenixes. I don't think anybody really does it. Maybe Zoun does, but it does seem like a bit of a no-brainer when you're in a situation like this. Okay, so disruptors are being produced here. There's been quite a bit of debate whether or not the disruptor change is a nerf or a buff, especially in combination with the Colossus. So to clarify, the Colossus now has 50 less shields, but 50 more HP than it did in the previous patch. So the grand total of the Colossus is identical. It went from 150, 200 to 100, 250. The main advantage of that is that it can now no longer take as much damage from the Ghost EMP. So the Ghost EMP ability, it reduces the amount of energy on spellcasters, but also of shields. And since there's less shields on the Colossi to be reduced, it is the easiest way, I guess, to buff the unit without affecting Protoss versus Zerg. Then secondly, the Disruptor's Nova, the range of it has been increased by increasing the radius. So it now has a larger surface area, meaning that it can catch more units within that Nova, but it deals less damage. So it deals 100 damage now, which is enough to still kill Marines and a Ghost like that, but it can no longer one-shot Marauders. 4 command centers on the production tab. Okay. We're digging deep right away. +1 air weapons coming up as well for Clem. Second starport right over here at the front too. I'm assuming we're going to see a reactor on that. We already had a fusion core building. Where is that? Right over here in the back of the main. We'll probably see, yep, there it is, advanced ballistics queued up. That is, of course, that Liberator ranged upgrade. Not the previous So, to clarify, this is the current live version of the advanced ballistics upgrade. They proposed an updated version of it, which was way too strong. And they decided to revert that. So this is the current version of the game. Which in my mind also means that they should revert the nerf that they did to the Tempest air-to-air range. I think the Tempest air-to-air range should be at the +1 that it's always been. But anyways, they made that change specifically to address the new Liberator. But now that the Liberator changes got reverted, I would imagine we're also going to revert the Tempest changes. Right? Anyways, +1 air weapons coming up for Classic. Yeah, we are actually just playing a full-on macro game here. Like, this game is not going to be finished anytime soon. Unless one of the players makes a gigantic blunder. These are, of course, very finicky fights. Very easy to mess up. Okay, he does get the kill on the Colossus. Good control right there by Mr. Clement. Monsieur Clement. Sorry, I forgot about the Monsieur part. I had French in school for many years, but not a lot stuck. Anyways, ultimately, our French Terran player is going to have to return back home. Because, yeah, he doesn't have enough HP anymore on those units. But he's been happily finding a new home for all of those command centers he's been building. Apparently, we're adding on more and more. Slowly but surely, the whole map is being gobbled up. Now, notice the circle range over here of the sensor towers on the minimap. The changes to the sensor tower, they are now salvageable. Much like a bunker. They're now cheaper to produce. I believe it's 50 gas cheaper. Ooh, nicely done right there, catching him off guard. 50 gas cheaper, I believe. But then at the same time, they also have significantly less range. So the amount of distance that those sensor towers cover, it is not nearly as impressive. It should add a little bit more variety. These rocks certainly need to go down. I think we should see, yeah, we should certainly see a fleet beacon here for Classic, or for Zoun as well. Oh, he already has one. Okay, I was gonna say we need to see those upgrades here coming on ASAP. He's got triple Stargate. Keep in mind that the mothership is looking really mighty and powerful in Protoss versus Zerg, but in PvT it's basically unchanged. I mean, it's more expensive and it deals more damage, but overall I would actually call it a nerf for the versus Terran matchup. Clem actually losing quite a few units though, uncharacteristically. Command center in the bottom right-hand corner goes down, but he's got a friend that will immediately replace it. And since Zoun found himself in a good position here going into the late game, he can actually decide to not make the transition towards more Stalkers, but go into Tempest instead. This is a difficult call to make when you're slightly behind, when you're getting to the late game. Generally speaking, when Protoss is in a bit of a rough position, they will make the choice to not go into the Tempest and just double down on Stalker play instead to try and fight those Liberators. But Tempests are coming. Base over here in some trouble, but good repairs right there from Clem. A couple of ghosts here being misrallied, but they should stay alive. Okay. In the meantime, in the opposite location, all the way in the top left, Zoun has just finished his new base, and he's playing a banger of a game here. I actually sort of went into this series expecting a relatively one-sided match, because Clem is just, well, Clem. Huh? Okay. Quite a few connections here on the Novas. Okay, good blink forward. Easy kills on those Libs. Tempest managed to finish the job as well. Now the Medevacs are going to be next. That Liberator is going to get dunked on as well. Excellent work here. Now there's no detection. No detection here for Zoun, so he can't actually snipe the ghosts. There's quite a few ghosts here available too. Easy to forget about their basic damage output. I mean, some of the energy is running out right now, so we're just gonna try and see if we can chase this army. In the meantime, we have one Zealot. This is actually a very small amount of Zealots. Usually, if we look at, like, say, for example, a max specs, we see at least like a dozen Zealots running around the map at this stage in the game. But Zoun is keeping all of his units in one big ball, and yeah, he's forcing out a 4th starport. So Clem is, he's looking to build 8 of those Vikings at once. Command center in the bottom right-hand corner. That's the 2nd planetary in that location. Ends up going down. Okay. Oh. Big hits. Dude. Zoun actually is... I think he's winning this. I haven't seen Clem really lose a macro game. Like, I mean, he's lost a couple, but I haven't really seen him lose a whole lot ever since the EWC. Ever since the World Cup, he's been looking nigh unstoppable. This is still not over yet, though. But the economy here for Protoss is looking mighty good. Now, we do have to keep in mind that a lot of those bases don't have optimal mining on them. He's only got 73 workers. It's identical to that of the Terran player. There's a little bit of long-distance mining here, but it's not like Zoun is effectively mining every single one of the mineral fields that he's got, even the gold base here. Like, there's a bunch of expansions that are basically doing nothing. He's adding on more, but he doesn't have the workers to occupy any of those locations efficiently. But anyways, I am very impressed. We're cycling towards the north. We're moving in from the left side now instead. He knows that the bottom right-hand corner is secured. It's time to bring the fight towards this side of the map instead. And these bases are actually becoming do or die right now for Clem. I would say that this expansion over here, if he loses this, he's in a world of trouble. Base in the bottom right-hand corner denied. We do have a big stasis ward over here too, just to slow down any counterattacks. A very ambitious Purification Nova. Couple of Zealots here on a bit of a journey. And so far you can see that it's Clem actually chasing this army down, trying to figure out where he needs to go. This is a fight though that's phenomenal for the Frenchman, and he's going to be able to slaughter all of those Stalkers. Easy peasy. Big win right there. In the meantime, we're moving forward over here too. Looks like a High Templar ended up going down over here. Zealot on the Watchtower will not live. And that entire Protoss army has now been dragged towards the bottom right-hand corner to kill a couple of gas geysers. And I would say that this is a trade that Terran will be more than happy to make. Excellent work. Now there is another base over here too though, that's mostly undefended now. Clem is maxed out. Classic? Or Zoun? Maybe Classic has got the mouse, Zoun has got the keyboard, you know? The ultimate Archon. No, this is Zoun. He's got a bunch of supplies still available to play with. Purposefully not maxing out, making sure that he always has at least a little bit available for, say like a Zealot run by or something along those lines. Obviously, with Warpins, he can very quickly max out if he wants to. Well done here, actually, by Clem. It looked like he was, he was up with his back against the wall. It was starting to look quite dire when he lost all of those bases in the bottom right, but things are looking a lot better now. Storms, though, coming in from the north. Couple of High Templar over here getting maximum value. We do have a lot of Disruptor Novas as well, forcing that Bio Army to run. No Archons on the ground anymore, though, and that means that the Vikings have free reign of the skies. We're gonna just keep on bowling, man, trying to hit whatever we can. Whoa, good pickup on some of those units, but those High Templar coming in clutch. The Disruptors right now coming in clutch, too. It looks like Zoun, he has to run. Still a lot of money in the bank. We've got 14 gateways, so remaxing shouldn't be that much of a deal. Okay. A couple of leftover units here from Clem. Oh my god, really? We're gonna dive forward? Well, he got at least one of the High Templar, but that was a costly exchange right there for Clem. Not a Liberator sleeping on the job. Denying the mineral line, of course, but that means that probes can get back to mining in that location. Income-wise, yeah, things are looking much better right now for Clem. Keep in mind that maybe he never had the biggest worker count, but of course he's got quite a few orbital commands. I mean, he has lost a bunch of them too, but there's 7 of them still available. That means that scans and mules are extremely nice. This is why we see such a large advantage right now as far as that income goes. Looks like Clem has managed to pull a rabbit out of a hat. When behind. Dark Shrine. The age-old adage. Let's see. What can we do with this? Well, Zoun in the meantime has found another base unprotected. In the bottom section of the map, command center goes down, but there's plenty of CCs available. Bottom right hand corner. New Nexus being acquired. This is going to be a really tough one, though. Yeah. Even though Clem doesn't see it. That Nexus got cancelled before anything really even happened. Dude, I'm actually really liking how Amygdala shapes up. Keep in mind that this is the map with all the gajillion rocks. But now that the majority of the rocks on the map are down, there's a lot of pathways that have become available. I'm slowly warming up to this map, actually. I wasn't a huge fan of it initially, but the amount of movement that you have in the later stages of the game is really nice. This is another thing, though, that's really nice right now. Group of Marine Marauder Medevac Ghost. The Ghost wished that it had its unit's name start with an M as well. The Most. Marine Marauder Medevac Most. Doesn't really work, huh? Couple of Stormy Boys coming in clutch again. Okay. Recall. Oh, recalling here is quite dangerous, but he is going to be able to get it done. You never know as Terran how many units are actually going to appear, so he decided to run. Okay. Oh. This is a juicy army, though. Clem does have a lot of money in the bank, so he can easily replace this. And in the meantime, we have once more a couple of Templar coming in clutch up north. That base in the top left, though, is really nice. But this army over here needs to be addressed. Clem has been pushed all the way back to his natural expansion. He's got a lot of money in the bank. But this is still something that Protoss... Like, this is still an army from Protoss here that needs to be respected. Couple of Novas, and this can still be game over. A lot of those Marines and Marauders are at very low HP. Zealots now coming in. Zoun blinks forward in the middle of that Terran Bio army. He's got a ton of production in the side of the main base, but that's also, of course, the soft underbelly of the Terran player. And that's exactly where Zoun is headed right now. If he can actually jump into the main base and pick off those Bio units as they pop out of the production structures, I think that's game. Clem does not have the resources to set up infrastructure in another location on the map. Woo! Okay, wow. Whew, that was an incredible game. Hats off to Zoun for playing it that well. Not a lot of people can go toe-to-toe with Clem, and even though I don't think that was really his game to win there near the end, like, he knew that he had one opportunity, one shot to seize everything he ever wanted, one moment. Did he get Mom Spaghetti on his sweater already? Or did he let it slip? Well, he didn't. He got the spaghetti. It covered everything. It's disgusting now that we are in game number 2, but we find ourselves on ley lines, and Zoun is leading the series 1-0. I looked it up, by the way, just to double check any confusion. Last time Classic, so not Zoun, but last time Classic played against Clem was on the 1st of October. And this series is a couple days old, so... I don't know, Zoun. I don't know why we're... Just to make everything more confusing. We're playing under a bit of a different username, huh? Okay, so where do we take this game from here? Well, it looks like we have ourselves a perfect opportunity here to remind everybody of that beautiful like button right below the video. You see it? Touch it, click it, hit it really hard, hit it gently, do whatever you need to. Right next to it, you also have a subscribe button. It's an excellent moment to get reminded about that too, you know? Like, I try to upload videos pretty much every single day. If you want to get notified of those videos going live, you can click that button. It's beautiful. You should click it. If you haven't already, okay? Don't click. If you click it again, if you've already clicked it in the past, you're gonna unsubscribe. That's not what we want. No. Don't click it if you've already clicked it before. It's a one-time click. Did you capture it? Or did you get spaghetti on his... anyways. Command center on the low ground. Factory inside of the main base. Where do we take this series from here? When you have a little bit of wiggle room as Protoss in a series, you can go for some more of the spicy build order. So what are the spicy builds? I mean, apparently I can't handle my spice very well. I mean, I'm very Dutch. Bell peppers is about as spicy as I go, but I would say something like a Phoenix opener could be kind of nice. Something like a 4-gate build could be kind of nice. Those are the bell peppers levels of spice. Now, it looks like Clem wanted to go for a Hellion drop or something. I think that's the plan. But he just got busted. I think that the idea right was to go for a proxy starport there. But apparently that's not what we're doing. Okay.
Missed the like button.
What? Brian! What? I forgot to mute Brian. Dang it, Brian! Ah, okay. This is, geez, professional commentator. In case you're unfamiliar, I have been recording a lot of my YouTube videos while live streaming on Twitch. And, I am live as of right now. But Brian apparently missed the like button, but lucky for you, you will not. Brian, my beautiful text-to-speech bot, he's everybody's best friend. Blink coming up right now. For some reason, the button to mute Brian is a different color. I don't know if... Ah, there it is. No. Ah, that's what that button is. Oh, I see. I got confused. There's a new button in my Twitch streaming dashboard. One of them is... Ah. That's what I messed up yesterday, too. Okay. Anyways. We have a... Yesterday we had random bleeps on the live stream too, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Turns out it was my my chat notification, and this is like a new button in my dashboard that I can mute or unmute. I thought I muted Brian by clicking that button, but apparently what I did is I unmuted something else. Anyways, professional commentator Lowko will continue onwards once more, as we do have a Widowmine drop coming in clutch. In the meantime, on the other side of the map though, this is a 4-gate all-in. Hellions trying to... Ooh! Okay, 4 probes go down. Widowmine's inside of the main base too. Okay. And that is game over. Yeah. No, sometimes you fumble it against the Widowmines. This happens all the way from the pro level to like Platinum League. If you lose 17 probes to a handful of mines, you try to get really fancy, right? So the pro gamers obviously try to cut it as close as possible, but that's too many workers. So this is Zoun going for a 4-gate all-in, which is one of the builds that Clem is phenomenal against. Because Clem obviously plays against MaxSpecs all the time, and MaxSpecs used to be very fond of this build. MaxSpecs doesn't play this strategy anymore because Clem rarely loses to it. And he's already making a wall inside of the main base. I mean, you can try. There's certainly a chance that it can work out, but you basically have to win the game with these Stalkers right now. Okay. So the problem is the amount of Stalkers you can make on the back of this is just not large enough. Oh, I think it is perfect position. Clean defense here by Clem. He could not have played that much better than the way that he did. This is what happened the other day, chat. There's a button in my dashboard. This one right over here. Enables chat box notifications. And I clicked it. And this is apparently what enables Twitch chat. Blink, blink, blink. Fucking annoying. Right next to it is a Brian mute button. Right over here. And that means that it all comes down to this. Final game in this best of 3 series. We find ourselves on El Dorado. Probably my personal favorite new map so far. Although I will say, Amygdala, that first game we saw, bit of a banger. Very good game. Very good map. At least in the later stages of it. I don't really like the early game too much on that map because the rocks just feel, I don't know, like the whole middle section of the map is inaccessible. And then in the middle of the game, the gold base is very difficult to mine and seems overly risky. But in the late game, Amygdala, it is for people with very big brains only. With very well-developed amygdalas. Anyways, El Dorado is nice because we have this, well, golden wall over here, right? Kind of like a previous map called Golden Wall. There's these skinny mineral fields as well that you can quickly mine out, and we've seen a lot of variety already. Honestly, the map layout is essentially identical to... I don't think there's really any changes. No, I think it's basically identical to Golden Wall back in the day. I've always been a fan of maps that have a shared base in the middle. So if you picture like a line over on the minimap, right? Like, and you mirror it left and right? This base over here is effectively shared, and it's the same for the expansion up north. And usually I found that maps that have this is like a base feature, rather than like a diagonally mirrored map, where the players just have their own sites and you mine those out. Like, usually these create a lot of friction in the late game, where players will either have to share, and it turns out StarCraft 2 players are very bad at sharing, or they have to fight for those mineral fields, which is usually what they opt for. So, I think this is pretty much always a good feature. Whenever you have a map that has a shared base, or there's like only one, like picture one of these is not there, and you have to fight like in a split map scenario for those final resources. That's the type of turtling that I do like seeing, you know, when you like turtle up on one of the final bases because you know that that is the only base that is still gonna matter in the long run. I think those are really fun. Anyways, I'm liking new maps. Yeah. The only map I haven't seen too much yet is called Ultra Love. Although, I was talking to Wardy, who runs a lot of StarCraft 2 tournaments, and apparently he's been seeing it a lot over the last couple of days. So even though apparently players didn't pick it initially, it's becoming more popular. Which is interesting. Like, he was mentioning it was a very popular map number 3 that particular day. Like, apparently every series he casted that day had Ultra Love as the 3rd map of the series. Which is, yeah, pretty funny. I guess for pro gamers too, right? Believe it or not, pro gamers are, of course, humans. At least the majority of them. The jury is not yet out on Max Specs and Serral, but for most of the others, they are human. And learning all of the ins and outs of a map just simply takes time. So, like, when you're looking at a map and it's a little bit weird, and you're trying to decide if you want to play a tournament game on it, you are more likely to just not pick the weird maps. It just takes a little bit more brain power. Anyways, classic going into the Stargate. Or, dang it. Zoun, go. First game of the series, I think I did a good job commentating. It's been all downhill ever since. Anyways, Zoun going for a Stargate build this time around. I've said it time and time again. I really like Stargate builds. I think Phoenix openers are really fun. But you also have a couple of issues that you run into. First off, if you decide to go up as a Terran player, right, for say like a Cyclone-based build, it's really tricky. And this is a Widow Mine together with a bunch of Marines here going across the map. But Cyclone builds, especially the old Cyclone, it's very, very good against this particular style here from Protoss, Lucky here, though, for the Protoss player, this is a little bit of a different follow-up, but still one that needs to be handled very delicately. This fight has to go well here for Protoss, because these Marines and this Widowmine can deal quite a bit of damage. Good pickup here. This is the way you want to deal with it. Great control. Medevac goes down. These Marines will no longer go home. He got one probe. That's it. That's it. One probe for all of that? Banger of an opener here for Protoss. The only problem you run into is that you can't really do anything as far as winning the game goes anytime soon with Phoenix builds. So if you do this against like a Blink Stalker opener, right? Say like you get one probe against a 4-gate Blink Stalker opener, the counterattack from Protoss is just going to instantly win the game. Oh, apparently we're doing the big split arena over here. Trying to see if there's anything weird. Look at that. Zoun is spreading his Phoenix fingers all over the map, man. Kinda gross, but... oh god, the fingernails are... ugh. Anyways, just making 100% sure that nothing is hiding around the map and that there's no cheeky, like, Raven or anything else going across the map. Getting a free Raven here would be huge. Follow-up here from Terran is just going to be the good old holy trinity of Terran upgrades. We're going to be seeing Stimpack. We already have +1, and this is going to be combat shields right over here. When those upgrades finish, Clem can once more head out on the map. But until that time, we will probably see him playing pretty passively. And that's going to give our Protoss player, Zoun here, a lot of time. See how I saved myself there? Anyways, the Protoss player, Zoun, as everybody would say, This gives Zoun a lot of time to transition straight towards that Robo Bay. So he's going into the Twilight Council. We may even see a Forge here momentarily. He's going to be able to transition straight towards the Colossus. And as long as he gets the Colossus done, by the time that Terran hits all of those upgrades, he's going to be A-okay. Okay. Yeah, so for now, we'll have to wait here until Terran feels like they can once more venture out onto the map. Clem is covering his bases very nicely here, literally, by making sure that the Phoenixes can't really get too much damage done. Mineral line in the main base is looking, well protected. A couple of Widow Mines over here, a couple of Marines over here as well. Hard really for the Protoss to jump in, but this is a perfectly comfortable situation right now for Zoun. There will be a delicate moment, though, when Terran marches across the map. But for now, this is all very, very playable. Honestly, I don't even really know if Clem is going to feel brave enough to go across the map. I mean, if he goes across the map and he loses a bunch of those medevacs, just like we already saw previously, like these medevacs. This is ambitious. He knows where the Phoenixes are. Don't whisper. Don't shout. Because if those Phoenixes smell the medevacs, this is essentially game over. Looks like Clem is going to be able to get away with murder. But he must realize that there's not a whole lot over here right now. He'll just get whatever he can. Look at the Terran supply count, though. Protoss is invested into a lot of infrastructure, but these Phoenixes are still going to be able to get very quickly, though, back to home. Colossus will be able to slow all of this down. There are some Marauders in the mix, but no Widow Mines, so you can just straight up engage this. Shield battery over there, still looking mighty powerful. Clem is going to lose those two medevacs after successfully sneaking them across. Great force field as well to speed everything up a bunch. Or Zoun, did I say Classic? Anyways. Excellent defense here. Look at this. We're losing one of each only. We're only allowed to lose one Stalker and one Colossus now. Maybe one Prism. This must have been played on singles day. I think it actually was. Anyways. The perfect opportunity here. For the perfect singles day. Ghost Academy coming up. Clem is trying to see if he can buy enough time, but I've got a feeling he's in a world of trouble here, because this Protoss army is going to hit like an absolute truck. One of the Phoenixes takes the siege tank out of the equation temporarily. Widowmine's not allowed to fire. Those Zealots are putting in a lot of work. Great force field to prevent the mass repair on that bunker. And just like that, Zoun gets the job done. Wow. I went into this series expecting a clean sweep for Clem. I mean, to be fair, that first game was really, quote-unquote, supposed to be a Terran win, but Zoun realized that he was pushed into a corner and he really only had one opportunity. He managed to get the job done in that game, and then, well, in the second match, that was, there was a little bit of a fumble, right, against the Widowmine drop. 16 probes going down against Widowmines is suboptimal. Then again, the margin for error with those engagements is absolutely tiny, but this third game, I mean, again, he managed to micro it basically perfectly, got an advantage right after, well, sniping that very first Widowmine Marine drop, and then ever since then, he just carried the advantage forward. Expertly done here by Zoun. Very impressed. GG.